All sports, Western New York high school football top 10. Large school, Jamestown, they're on a roll, followed by Sweet Home, Canisius. St. Joe's loses their first game. Frontier, number 5, West Seneca East, Grand Island, Orchard Park, South Park, and Lancaster rounds out the top 10. Small school, Alden knocks off Depew, they're number 1, followed by Bragard, Cleve Hill, Depew, Randolph, St. Mary's, Fredonia, Cheektowaga, Maple Grove, and Lackawanna rounds out the top 10. If you're a high school football coach, you'd like to have your team part of the audience for the Fred Jackson Show, give us a call here at 929-9084 or email us at info@WBBZ.TV. Hey, it's time now for our WBBZ cameras and photojournalist Tim Batty, who's out at 1270 The Fan earlier this week to talk to Rich Gaenzler. He does his show every day 12 to 3. Don't miss it. And the big question is Rich Gaenzler a rock jock doing sports or a sports jock doing rock?
Probably a sports guy first, but never had the opportunity to do it like I've been given here.
The Rich Gaenzler Show on Sports Radio 1270, The Fan.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the program.
But I got to tell you, I tell people all the time, I think I have, despite the fact that I do 2 live radio shows a day, I still think I have probably the best kept secret in terms of radio anywhere, because I get to have so many opportunities in both kind of realms. And I love music. I've been doing it forever. That was where my first opportunity was. But I've always been a sports guy. I've always been a jock, so I've been able to kind of balance the two. But I'm probably, to answer the question long-windedly, I am a talk show host now. Sports guy first, rock guy second. But it's more like 1A than 1 and 2. The easiest part of it is the ability to walk the 8 steps from one studio to another. That's the easiest part of it, literally.
I want to welcome our friends over at WBBZ-TV in studio this afternoon over on Channel 5, doing a piece on the program, and we're looking forward to seeing that as well, and we appreciate them putting radio on TV.
The hardest part is, a 3-hour talk show, I don't care what you're talking about, is, you better know your stuff for the most part, and sports is so broad that you got to know a little bit about everything. My music show is a music show, so I can, it gives me a little more time even during the show to do a little bit more research as I'm going along and to talk a little bit more about station events and stuff like that. But when you're doing a sports talk show, especially in a big sports town like this one, you better be pretty intelligent. You better kind of know what you're talking about, and for that reason, it incurs a ton of prep time. A couple hours before the show, at night when I go home, I'm constantly online going through, websites and Twitter and every place to find out any kind of angle on any kind of sports story I can find, and then kind of build the show that way every single day. So it's a challenge. I find myself sometimes even during my sports show, going through or during my music show rather, kind of doing research for my next day's sports show. So it's kind of cool because you can balance them both. You can tell music stories during the sports show and vice versa. So they mix well together because they're both generally positioned towards dudes, let's be honest. And so, dudes like sports, dudes like rock. It's easy. It's easy to do the two and put them together. But again, to the original question, a lot of work. It's the most work I've ever done when it comes to radio, having to balance the two, having to go from one mindset to the other, because literally when I sign off at 2:59 on the Fan, and then at 3:03 I'm on the air on the Edge, you got to go from sports guy to rock guy, even though they can kind of be the same guy, but you got to get the call letters right. So there's some challenges. It's tough, but it's very, very enjoyable. I think this can be billed as an experimental season. I think it's fair to say that these rookie coaches, head coach, offensive coordinator, and, well, Pettine's not a rookie, certainly. He's been a defensive coordinator before, but a lot of new coaches even in positions on this team. And, of course, rookie players and young players, first and second-year players. I think it's fair to say that this is going to be an experimental season. I'm not saying that they're not going to try and win and not try and be good, but I think that their goal probably is to look to next year and ultimately to 2 years down the road, when they can ultimately decide whether or not they're going to be a legitimate, deep into the playoff team. I think this year expectations are low because they're so new, and you might argue, well, expectations are low, we'll take advantage of that and be even better than you're supposed to be, and it'll be easier to be better because expectations are low. Listen, if they don't go beyond those expectations, I don't think anybody's going to be too terribly upset. You know, people come into this, I predicted them 6-10. Most people didn't predict them more than 8 wins. That's only a 2-game improvement. That's important, but I don't think ultimately what's going to measure this team down the road. I think experimental to the point where the coaches are going to find out what works and what doesn't with this particular group on both sides of the football, and at the end of the year be able to build off that and build system, playbook, scheme, philosophy that works, knowing the people they have in place. And quite frankly, most of the people on this roster are going to be here next year, provided they don't get cut in training camp a year from now. So they can really kind of figure out what the nucleus of the team is, figure out where the core, the power is of the team, kind of build outward, in my opinion, and hope for a better season next year, maybe an 8 or 9 win a year from now, and hopefully a 10 or 11 win season in 2 years with the use of draft and free agency. So I'm going to call this an experimental season. See what happens, see what's good, see what's bad, kind of tweak it as we go, and kind of play it out and see where it goes. So that's what I feel the season is going to end up being. A lot, because the Sabres are on. I mean, let's be honest, come October, Sabres are playing 2 or 3 times a week, so we're talking a ton of Sabres. I mean, this is, you know, yeah, they compete, obviously, you know, but they're 1A. I mean, I still think this is a primarily football town, always has been. They were here first with the Bills, clearly. So I think the Bills have always been 1 and the Sabres 1A. And so, yeah, we talk a ton of stuff, a ton of Sabres. I've always wanted to do a talk show my whole life, just for the challenge of seeing if I could actually do it. And I remember the first week that I did this show, I did it for a week, and I said, I think I did it. I can't believe it. I talked for 3 hours by myself. You know, how many talk radio shows are single guys? Not a ton. A lot of them are teams. It doesn't matter where you go, local or network. It's a lot of teams, 2-guy teams, and I'm basically a loner. So I'm thinking to myself, can I possibly talk for 3 hours straight with, you know, 2.5, 3, 4 minute break in between your 15-minute segments? I didn't know if I could do it. Turns out I can, and I'm excited about that because I've had a tendency to be a jabberjaw and like to talk. And you know, when I'm doing the music show, it's more about the music. That's the product. It's more about that than it is me. Where this is more about equal parts me and sports. And that's kind of the beauty of it, because again, I get to jabberjaw here, enjoy over here, and again, get afforded the opportunity to talk to stars in both genres, to travel and see events in both genres. So it's been a terrific opportunity and a really great ride, and yeah, we certainly hope it continues, because it's a lot of fun.
And take it from me, what he does every day to talk 3 hours on one show and then do the other show, it's very difficult, folks. More of All Sports West New York. We'll say goodnight right after this.